Ladies and gentlemen, friends, and future trailblazers, we all know what it feels like to be left in silence. Silence can be confusing, it can be unsettling, and sometimes it can even feel like rejection. But let me tell you something, silence doesn't mean the end. It doesn't mean you've been forgotten or that you're not worthy of love, attention, or respect. Silence is just a moment in time, a temporary pause in an ongoing journey. And when he reaches out after silence, that's your moment to respond with clarity, confidence, and self-worth. When he reaches out after silence, the first thing you have to remember is don't panic. It's so easy to get caught up in the whirlwind of emotions when someone who has been absent suddenly makes contact. Your mind might race with all kinds of thoughts, questions, doubts, maybe even excitement. But here's the thing, you cannot afford to lose your head in that moment. I know, it's tough. You start thinking, why is he reaching out now? What does this mean? Has something changed? Is he really serious? Or is this just a game? It's easy to let those thoughts take over, and I get it. But here's the truth, you are in control. The moment he reaches out, that's when the power shifts to you. How you respond, whether you engage or take a step back, is entirely up to you. You hold the keys to this situation. Now let's talk about why staying calm is so important. When we panic, we stop thinking clearly. We start reacting, not responding. And there's a huge difference between reacting and responding. When you react, you're operating out of fear, confusion, or even desperation. You rush to make decisions based on what feels urgent, not what's truly best for you. That's when mistakes happen. But when you respond, you take a moment to breathe, to reflect, and to approach the situation from a place of clarity. You make decisions with intention, not impulse. So, when that message comes through or that phone call rings, take a moment before you do anything. It might seem like the world is moving fast and there's pressure to answer immediately. But I want to remind you of something. You don't owe anyone an immediate response. Your peace of mind is far more important than answering the phone or replying to a text just because it's there. Let's be real, if he's been silent for a while, then he can wait a few minutes while you collect yourself. There's no rush. You have time. This is where you need to tap into your inner strength. The old you might have rushed to reply out of fear of looking like you didn't care or out of the need to appear available. But the new you, the stronger, wiser, and more self-aware version, understands that silence doesn't mean rejection. It just means there's been a pause. A pause that doesn't define who you are or what you deserve. Think about it like this. When someone is silent, it's a reflection of where they were at the time. Maybe they were going through something personal, or maybe they didn't have the emotional maturity to communicate. But guess what? That's on them, not you. Your response to their silence is what matters now. And if you've been doing the inner work, learning to value your peace and understanding your worth, then silence is just a moment. It's not a life sentence. Let's break this down further. When he reaches out after being silent, it's a sign that he's stepping back into your space. But you've got to decide what to do with that. The first thing you should ask yourself is, how do I really feel about this? It's so easy to let emotions get the best of us, especially when someone we care about returns after a period of absence. But in those moments, it's crucial to slow down and check in with yourself. How do you feel right now? Do you feel relieved that he's back? Or do you feel like you're stepping into an emotional roller coaster that you'd rather not be on again? It's okay to feel both. Maybe you miss him, or maybe you've moved on. Maybe his return brings back old memories, and now you're wondering if this is the beginning of something new or if it's just the same story playing out again. But whatever it is, your feelings are valid. Don't ignore them. I know it can be tempting to just go with the flow, to let emotions push you to say or do things you don't fully understand. But that's why you need to stop and reflect. Ask yourself, do you really want to open this door again? Are you prepared for whatever comes next? Or are you still carrying some of the emotional baggage that the silence left behind? These are important questions. And the only way you're going to get to a clear answer is by giving yourself space to think before you act. Think about the power you have in this moment. He might be reaching out, but you're not obligated to welcome him back with open arms. You don't need to throw yourself back into a situation that doesn't serve your growth, your happiness, or your peace of mind. You've got to be strong enough to say no if that's what's right for you. You have to be mature enough to understand that just because someone returns to your life doesn't mean you have to let them stay if it doesn't align with your vision for the future. Now, I get it. It's hard. The feelings can be intense. You might feel like you're overreacting or being too careful. But trust me on this, you are not overthinking. You're protecting your peace. And in the end, that's all that really matters. Life is short, and the last thing you need is to invite chaos back in because you're afraid of confronting your emotions or standing firm in your boundaries. So, when that moment comes, when the message lights up your phone or the phone rings, take a breath. Don't rush. Don't get caught up in the drama of the moment. Pause, reflect, and then act with intention. Whether you choose to respond or not, make sure that decision comes from a place of self-respect and clarity, not from a place of anxiety or fear. At the end of the day, you are in control of this situation. You decide whether he gets another chance, whether you engage, and what the terms of that engagement will be. It's all in your hands. Don't let the silence or the sudden outreach take that power away from you. Your response starts with your ability to stay calm and grounded. And trust me, that's the first step toward making the right decision for you. Now, once you've taken that moment to breathe and calm your mind, the next step is to assess your feelings and needs. This is where you truly step into your power. A lot of us go through life without really taking the time to check in with ourselves, especially when emotions are running high. But when someone reaches out after a period of silence, that's your chance to really look at yourself, to see how you're feeling, and to figure out what you truly need moving forward. It's not about what he wants or what he needs. This moment is about you. I want you to understand that your feelings are the compass here. We spend so much time trying to decipher what other people are feeling or thinking, trying to figure out why they've been silent or why they're reaching out now. But the first question you should ask yourself is, how do I feel about this? Take a moment and really think about it. Forget about his intentions for a second. Forget about the pressure to respond or act normal. Ask yourself, how do I feel in my heart? Are you happy that he's reaching out? Or is there a sense of uncertainty or even discomfort creeping in? I'm telling you, your feelings will tell you everything you need to know. If you're feeling a little uneasy, like something's not quite right, don't just dismiss it. Your intuition is trying to speak to you. Sometimes silence is louder than words, and that silence has been telling you something. Whether it's that you're finally at peace without him in your life, or that you've learned something about yourself that you can't ignore. Trust those feelings. They're not wrong. They're not overreacting. They're guiding you in the right direction. Now, this isn't just about emotions. It's also about your needs. How have you been feeling emotionally and mentally during the time of silence? Maybe you've had some space to grow, to heal, to get clear on what you really want. Maybe that silence was a gift, an opportunity for you to find your own rhythm, to get comfortable with being by yourself, and to realize just how much you bring to the table. If that's you, then you might find yourself asking, do I really want to reintroduce the chaos or the uncertainty that silence brought in the first place? Or maybe you've been waiting for this moment, hoping he would come back, and you feel a sense of relief or excitement that he's finally reaching out. Regardless of the emotions you're feeling, don't make any decision until you're clear about your needs. What do you need right now to feel secure, to feel valued, and to feel respected? If you've been doing the work, growing, learning, becoming stronger, you have a much clearer idea of what you're willing to tolerate and what you absolutely won't. Your needs are non-negotiable. If someone reaches out to you after silence and they don't meet those needs, if they can't offer the respect, love, or understanding that you require, then it doesn't matter how much you might miss them or how much you might care for them. You are worthy of what you need. Don't ever settle for less. I know. It's tempting to just want things to go back to how they were, especially if you're feeling a little lonely or uncertain. It's easy to fall into the trap of thinking, well, maybe this time will be different, or maybe we've both changed and we can make it work. But listen, you've been on this journey for a reason. You've been through some things. You've learned some hard lessons, and you've come out the other side stronger. Don't go backward just because you're feeling a little vulnerable in the moment. You are not who you were when you were with him before. You've grown, you've evolved, and you know what you need to be happy and at peace. If he can't meet that, don't make excuses for him. But here's the flip side. If you've been hoping for this moment, if you've been praying for things to change, if you believe that there's a possibility for this relationship to be better, then be honest about that too. Your feelings matter, and it's okay to admit that you miss him or that you think there's potential for growth. But even then, be clear about what you need. Are you looking for an apology? Are you looking for him to show up differently than before? Are you expecting him to take responsibility for his actions and demonstrate that he's changed? If you're hoping for something more, be clear about that. And if you're not sure, that's okay too. Just don't respond from a place of desperation or fear of being alone. Take your time, think about what you need, and then decide whether or not that's something he can offer. When you assess your feelings and needs, you're not just making a decision about whether or not to respond. You're also deciding what kind of relationship you want moving forward, whether it's with him or anyone else. Your needs are a reflection of your standards. The stronger your standards, the better the relationships you'll have in your life. Don't be afraid to be clear about your needs, because when you do, you attract the people who respect those needs. The ones who don't, well, they fall away, and that's a good thing. But don't rush the process. Take the time to truly check in with yourself, to really understand where you're at and what you need. Don't let anyone rush you into a decision. And remember, it's okay to say no. You don't have to respond just because he reached out. You don't have to let someone back in just because they called. If it doesn't feel right, if your needs aren't being met, then protect your peace. Your happiness matters more than anything else. At the end of the day, this moment of reflection is about making sure that whatever happens next aligns with who you are now, not who you were. You are in charge of your happiness, your peace, and your emotional well-being. Make sure you're always making choices that reflect that truth. Once you've taken the time to assess how you feel and what you need, the next step is to set boundaries and be clear about them. Now, I want you to understand something important. Boundaries are not just about keeping others at arm's length. Boundaries are about protecting your peace, your heart, and your time. They're about teaching others how to treat you and respecting yourself enough to say, this is what I will accept, and this is what I won't. When someone reaches out after a period of silence, it's not just about whether or not you want them back in your life. It's about making sure that if they're going to come back into your life, they understand the rules. And those rules aren't about controlling them. They're about protecting your peace and ensuring that you don't lose sight of your own worth. Because listen to me, you are worth the boundaries you set. If someone truly respects you, they'll honor the boundaries you put in place. And if they don't, well, that's information you need to know. So, what do I mean by setting boundaries? I mean, you need to get clear about what kind of communication you need, how much space you require, and what behaviors are no longer acceptable. Maybe in the past, you tolerated certain things. Maybe you let a few things slide. But you've learned now, you've grown, and you realize that your time and energy are too precious to be spent on someone who isn't offering you the respect and consideration you deserve. Let's break it down. First of all, You need to be honest with yourself about what you've learned during the silence. How has your life been better or different since this person has been away? Have you found peace? Have you grown stronger? Do you feel more confident in your own skin? If the answer is yes, then that's a sign that you need to protect that space. If this person is coming back, ask yourself, are they adding to the peace you've created, or are they coming back to disturb it? Setting boundaries is not about creating walls. It's about creating a space where you can thrive, where you can grow, and where you can be yourself without fear of being undermined. It's about ensuring that anyone who enters your life knows what's acceptable and what isn't. For example, if you've learned that you can't handle last-minute plans or sporadic communication, you need to make that clear. If you've found that you need someone who communicates with honesty and transparency, that's a boundary you must express. Don't be afraid to say, hey, I need you to communicate better if we're going to move forward. Or, I can't deal with someone who is emotionally unavailable for long stretches. These are not demands, they're self-respect. Here's the thing, when someone has been silent and they come back, they need to understand that they can't just pick up where they left off without making some changes. It's not about punishment, it's about protecting your emotional well-being. Now, setting boundaries might make you feel like you're being tough or that you're making it hard for them. But guess what? That's not the case. You're not being tough, you're being wise. You're being strong enough to recognize that your emotional health is more important than allowing someone to walk all over you because you're afraid of making them uncomfortable. Don't be afraid to make people uncomfortable in order to protect your peace. I want to emphasize that boundaries are not about rejecting or pushing people away. They are about showing them the level of respect you deserve. When you set a boundary, you're simply communicating. This is how I want to be treated, and if you want to be in my life, you need to respect that. And listen, if they don't respect it, then that tells you everything you need to know about their intentions. If someone truly cares about you, they'll want to meet you halfway. They'll be willing to put in the effort because they understand that respect is the foundation of any meaningful relationship. And while we're on the subject, let me just say this. You don't need to apologize for your boundaries. There's no need to explain yourself or justify why you need what you need. You don't need to make anyone feel comfortable with your boundaries. You don't need to apologize for wanting someone to be more present, more reliable, or more respectful. This is not about being demanding. It's about being clear. If someone's upset by your boundaries, then that's not on you. That's on them. Boundaries are about what you need to feel safe, heard, and respected, and you have the right to express that. Think about this. When you let go of the fear of setting boundaries, you'll see the difference it makes in your relationships. You'll see that people who truly care about you will respect those boundaries, and people who don't will fade away. And that's a blessing in disguise, because when you stand firm on your boundaries, you're teaching people how to treat you. And believe me, that is powerful. It's one of the strongest things you can do for yourself and for your peace of mind. So when he reaches out after silence, don't just respond because it feels like the right thing to do. Don't just rush to fill the silence or to let him back in because you're afraid of what might happen if you don't. Take a step back and ask yourself, what do I need from him? What do I need from this situation? Then be clear about those needs. Be strong enough to express your boundaries and stand by them, even if it means having an uncomfortable conversation. Because if you don't set boundaries, you're leaving your emotional well-being in the hands of others. And that's not a place you want to be. And one last thing, setting boundaries isn't a one-time thing. It's an ongoing practice as you grow. As you change, your boundaries may evolve. That's okay. The key is to stay true to what you need in each phase of your life and never, ever feel guilty for protecting your peace. Now, let's talk about the importance of responding with confidence, not desperation. When he reaches out after silence, I need you to realize something that's crucial. Your value is not dependent on whether or not he's in your life. So many people fall into the trap of reacting from a place of desperation, feeling like their whole world depends on getting that response, getting that connection back, or getting back to where things used to be. But here's the truth, and I want you to hear me loud and clear. You don't need anyone to validate your worth. Your worth comes from within. And when you understand that, you'll approach this whole situation from a place of strength, not weakness. It's natural to want answers. It's natural to want closure, especially after a period of silence. But don't let your need for answers drive you into desperation. You've got to remember that you have nothing to prove here. You don't need to chase anyone. You don't need to beg for attention, and you certainly don't need to convince someone of your value. When you respond out of desperation, you're allowing the situation to control you. You're letting your emotions run the show, and trust me, that's not a place of power. When he reaches out after a period of silence, your first instinct might be to respond immediately, to act like everything's okay, to jump back into things without considering what you really want. But don't rush. This is your moment to stand firm, to be in control, and to show that you don't need anyone to make you feel complete. You are already complete. You are already whole. And when you approach this situation with that mindset, you'll find that the way you respond will come from a place of clarity, not fear. I'm telling you right now, when you respond from a place of desperation, you're not being true to yourself. You're lowering your standards. You're telling the universe, I'll accept whatever comes my way because I need it. But you don't need anything. You've got everything you need within you. You've worked hard to get to a place where you can stand on your own 2 feet and be proud of the person you've become. Don't let anyone make you forget that. Don't let anyone convince you that you're less than enough without them. Responding with confidence doesn't mean you have to be cold, indifferent, or unfeeling. It simply means you're standing in your truth. It means you understand that you have the right to set the tone of the relationship. And that means being clear about what you're willing to accept and what you're not. Responding with confidence means knowing that you're worthy of respect, of kindness, of love that doesn't come with games, and of honesty that doesn't require guessing. And if he's reaching out, he needs to know that too. Listen, I get it. There's this fear that if you don't act a certain way, you'll lose him. You might think, if I don't respond right away, he'll think I don't care. If I don't make an effort to fix things, it'll be over forever. But here's the thing, if someone truly cares about you, they'll respect your boundaries and your space. And if they don't respect that, then they weren't meant to be in your life in the first place. Responding from a place of desperation might give you temporary relief, but it won't bring you the lasting peace that comes from knowing that you're standing firm in your truth. So, what does it look like to respond with confidence? It looks like taking your time. It looks like taking a deep breath and thinking about what you want, not just what you think you should do. Responding with confidence means being able to say, I'm glad you reached out, but I need some time to think about what I want next. Or, I appreciate you contacting me, but I need to be clear about where I'm at emotionally before moving forward. It means that when you speak, you're speaking from a place of certainty, not insecurity. And that certainty comes from understanding your worth and knowing that no matter what happens, you will be okay. Don't be afraid of silence in your response. A lot of people feel this pressure to answer immediately, as though every second of silence means something's wrong or that the situation is slipping away. But silence doesn't have to be a negative thing. Silence can be strength. It can be a moment of reflection. It's okay to take your time to make sure that your response reflects who you are now, not who you were in the past. Now, let's talk about what responding with confidence doesn't look like. It doesn't look like chasing after him. It doesn't look like sending multiple texts trying to explain yourself or pouring your heart out just to get a response. It doesn't look like lowering your standards just to fit into a space that wasn't made for you. Responding with confidence means you don't need to explain yourself constantly. You don't need to seek validation for your feelings or your actions. Your emotions are your own, and you don't owe anyone an explanation for how you feel. When you're coming from a place of desperation, you start to lose your sense of self. You start compromising on what you truly need, and you forget that you deserve the best. But when you respond with confidence, you remind yourself that you are deserving of the best, and you won't settle for anything less. Confidence in your response means knowing that you are not afraid of losing someone who doesn't value you the way you should be valued. Understand this. Responding with confidence doesn't mean pretending that everything is fine if it's not. It doesn't mean putting on a mask or acting like you're okay when you're not. It means being honest with yourself and others about where you are emotionally and being willing to move forward in a way that honors your journey, your growth, and your peace. It means being okay with standing alone if that's what it takes to maintain your peace. It means understanding that you are not incomplete without anyone else. You are complete on your own. And any person who comes into your life should only add value, not take away from it. So when he reaches out after silence, I want you to approach it from a place of strength. Respond with confidence, because you have nothing to prove to anyone. You're not desperate for his attention. You're simply deciding whether or not he aligns with the peace and joy you've worked so hard to cultivate in your life. And if he doesn't, that's okay too. You'll be just fine on your own, and you'll keep moving forward with or without him. Now, let me share something with you that's very important. Be prepared to move forward with or without him. This right here is the true test of your strength and your growth. When he reaches out after silence, it's easy to get caught up in the idea of what could have been, what might happen, and whether or not this is the second chance you've been waiting for. But here's the reality: you can't wait around forever for someone to catch up to you. You've come too far. You've worked too hard on yourself, on your peace, on your growth, to let someone come back into your life and disrupt that just because they suddenly show up. You've got to be prepared to move forward, no matter what. The truth is, when someone goes silent and then they come back into your life, it's not just a welcome back moment. It's a test. It's a moment to check where you are and where they are. It's a moment to see if they have grown, if they've changed, or if they're still the same person they were when they left. And while it's tempting to fall back into old patterns, to fall into what feels comfortable or familiar, I need you to remember, you're not the same person you were before. You've evolved. You've gained strength. You've learned lessons that have shaped you into someone who is more aware of their worth, more aware of what they need, and more aware of what they will not tolerate. So when he reaches out, you have to be strong enough to let go if it's not right. You've got to be prepared to walk away if the situation doesn't serve you. Your peace is non-negotiable. If he comes back into your life and he hasn't changed, if he doesn't meet your needs, if he doesn't respect your boundaries, then you owe it to yourself to say goodbye. You don't owe anyone a second chance just because they decided to show up after silence. You don't owe anyone your time if they don't have the respect to give you what you deserve. Here's the thing. You are not in a position where you should be hoping or waiting for someone to validate you. You've already validated yourself. You've learned how to be happy on your own, how to find peace without relying on someone else to complete you. If someone shows up after silence, you have to evaluate whether or not they fit into the new chapter of your life. If they don't, then it's okay to let them go. You don't have to hold on to something just because it was once a part of your life. People change, circumstances change, and sometimes you have to let go of things that no longer align with your journey. Now, I want you to think about this. Have you ever held on to something out of fear? Fear that if you let go, you'll lose something important. Fear that if you move on, you won't find something better. Fear that if you leave, you'll be alone. Let me tell you something, fear is a liar. Fear tells you that you can't move forward, that you can't do better, that you won't find happiness without this person. But that's simply not true. You can move on, and you will find someone who treats you the way you deserve to be treated. You will find peace, you will find joy, and you will find a love that doesn't require you to settle or compromise your standards. Moving forward with or without him doesn't mean you're closing the door on love or closing your heart off to the possibility of a relationship. It simply means that you've learned to prioritize your own happiness and your own emotional well-being over everything else. It means that you're in control of your own life. And if someone else is going to be a part of that life, they need to show up in a way that honors you. If they can't do that, then you don't need to wait around. Your life is moving forward whether they're part of it or not. But I understand that it's not always that easy. It's hard to let go of someone you've invested time and emotions into. It's hard to admit that a relationship might not be serving you the way it once did. But here's the beauty of it. You are stronger than you think. You are capable of walking away from what no longer serves you. And when you do, you make space for something better, something healthier, and something that aligns with the person you've become. That's the power of moving forward, letting go of what doesn't fit so that you can make room for what does. And don't get me wrong, I'm not saying you should close yourself off from love or from the possibility of reconnection. What I'm saying is that you need to be clear about what you're willing to accept. If he comes back, are you ready to see if he's willing to meet you at your level, to respect your boundaries, to give you the kind of love and care that you've been giving yourself? Or are you just hoping for things to magically go back to how they were before without any changes? You've got to make a decision that puts you first. If he's willing to grow with you, to show up in a way that honors who you are now, then it's worth considering a future together. But if not, then it's time to let go and keep moving forward, no matter how hard it may seem in the moment. I also want to remind you that moving forward doesn't mean that you forget about the past or erase the memories you shared. What it means is that you learn from those experiences, you carry the lessons with you, and you keep moving forward with the knowledge that you are worth more than anyone who can't show up for you in the way that you need. You are your own validation. You are your own source of strength. And when you understand that, you become unstoppable. So, when he reaches out after silence, know this: you're in control. You get to decide whether or not this is part of your journey moving forward. You get to decide whether this is the right person for the next chapter in your life. And no matter what decision you make, know that you have the power to move forward and to create a life that reflects your worth, your growth, and your happiness. Thank you.